Hello there and welcome to Artist Endeavour, a channel where I endeavour to make you a great artist. Okay, so on this video I'll be doing something a little bit different, and that is creating a very basic board game. So I'll be showing you how to make one yourself. The idea I have is quite literally just a path of spaces or squares from the start leading to the finish. The first thing I need to decide is the shape of the path. Okay, so let's try some very basic squares. Actually, no. Let's work the path out fully to begin with. So I'll just make a basic line. So I try and make sure the path reaches over a good sizable space of the page. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now it's time to make a rough outline of the edge of the squares. Okay, so at this point you don't really want to worry about anything being too accurate or anything looking rough. So it's just need to get the idea down quickly, basic shape quickly, and then you can start refining. Okay, it looks okay for now, so I'll just tidy up the lines a bit. Okay, so this could take a while. Okay, so as I'm trying to straighten and refine the lines here, I'm also thinking about how to proceed to the next stage and what sort of ideas I can think of. So because this is a basic board game, obviously I'm not going to include complex mechanics. I'm just going to be placing spaces, but also some conditions on some spaces, such as moving a few spaces forward or back. So I just keep things pretty straightforward. So as I'm starting to get to the end of the refinement, I'm also looking at the width of the track, of the trail, making sure it's all even everywhere. Okay, so I want to make the ends a right angle, so just amend that, making sure the end is a total right angle to the sides there. Okay, so at the bottom there, on the bend, I can see it goes a bit thinner, so I'm going to need to make that a bit thicker. Okay, I think that looks okay now, generally. Let's flip the image to make sure it's looking all even. Okay, I can see there's the right angle in the end isn't a right angle, so let's just correct that. we go. Okay, it's looking pretty good, pretty solid. Lines look good enough. I think I can add it in the squares now, I think. Okay, so what I'm aiming to do is trying to make, obviously making the squares, the lines that make the squares equal. So I'm trying to make each line at equal distance apart to make the squares equal in size. So I'm just using the lasso tool once I've placed the line down, move it along to make sure it's equal. Yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to actually just make lines throughout the whole thing, and then I can work out the length. Because if I carry on, the chances are the last square won't actually be the same size. The distance of the line won't be equal. So I'm going to have to do the lines all the way around, roughly in the same size. And then once I get to the end, I can start amending all the lines back again. So then I'll know the width roughly of each space. So as I'm going along, I'm just refining the lines a little bit. It's looking pretty accurate. So let's do a few more lines. Just move that over a bit. Okay, that's looking pretty accurate so far. So obviously I'll need to adjust some of the lines and refine them. But ultimately the spaces look pretty equal, so this is good. Remember, if you're unsure, then always start with a rough sketch. Okay, so I need to move the orientation of some lines so so the spaces resemble a square rather than a triangular shape on the bend there. Now's the time to use the lasso tool and try and make all the spaces equal. So I just flip the image there, and flipping it back, the image looks fine. Okay, start writing in the squares. So okay, that's going to be our start square, and obviously on the opposite side I will be writing in the finish square, but I will need to rotate the piece first so I can write clearly and not sideways on. Okay, so that's the finish. I'm going to be making the text sort of face the centre of the page rather than all in a single direction. That way the player, wherever they are sitting, will be able to see an equal percentage of the text on the board, if you get what I mean. I could use the text tool in Photoshop and type out these words instead. I'll just quickly make an example here. Does look better, looks more cleaner and professional, but I think I'm just gonna stick to handwritten because it looks a bit more homemade, if you will. Okay, so now I'm going to decide what sort of conditions I will include for some spaces and whereabouts I will place them. So as mentioned earlier, I'm only going to have some simple conditions such as moving the player forward or back a number of spaces. Okay, so I've done this, just refine some lines, just make the lines look a bit more sharp, a bit more smooth before we do anything else. So I'm just trying to get the line thickness similar to each other, so there's a bit of consistency across the board. No pun intended. Okay, so that's looking good. Yeah, it looks a lot more solid now. So that's before, and that's after. Before, after, before, and after. Yep, definitely looks better. Surprised how much difference a little bit of a tidying up across the lines makes. Okay, so let's just flip the angle again. So I'm going to be putting in a space. Let's see now, go back. How many spaces? Say 7? Well, that might be a bit too much. 4 spaces. I think I'll, because it's near the end, you want to make the spaces go back quite a bit, so there's quite a bit of a punishment, I think. Let's rotate this a little bit more so I can do the bend area. Let's do another go back. So go back 5 spaces. And the reason why I'm doing go back spaces towards the end is because the board is very short. It's only a few spaces, so it won't last long. So if I can make the player go back more, extend the game. Let's do a go forward square, so go forward 3 spaces here. Now I'm thinking of including a unique center square where you have to go back to the start. Now I want this square to look different but also be readable from both directions, so I'm just going to copy this and rotate instead of rewriting it again, because then it will look a bit different either side. So copying the text so it looks mirrored. Let's add a couple more. Let's go back 1 space. Go forward 4 spaces. Actually, I'm going to have to move that because that go back 1 space is going to then make the player go forward 4 spaces. Let's do another one. Go back, tidy it up. Two spaces. Okay, so let's look at what we've got so far. I think that's enough. I think that's pretty good. So we've got 2 forward spaces and 5 back spaces. So the reason why I've got more back than forward is to extend the game, basically. Okay, so let's start colouring this in. Now I know I could select the square using the lasso tool and then just fill the colour in, but by the time I've gone around the edge with the lasso tool, it'd be quicker just painting it. Plus it looks more traditional, you know, so if you're doing this on paper, you can see the actual piece being filled in how you would on real paper instead of using Photoshop tools. Okay, so you could make the lettering a bit clearer, a bit thicker by making block letters like this. Then start getting rid of the colour to make the lettering white, for example. You know what, actually no, that it'd be quicker just to continue what I was doing. So you could go for this kind of look. The lettering would be clearer from a distance, and also it's worth noting that because the lettering is like this, you can use a darker tone, whereas if you just use the line lettering, then it would be difficult to see. So let's just change this to dark. So see, that still looks good, but if I go back to the outline and then make it dark, and then it's not too clear. So if I use the line lettering, the only choice I have is light colours or pastel colours, but because I want the lettering to be simple, I want the game to look as simple as possible, since that's the whole title of the video, to make a very basic board game. I'll choose the original shade of colouring, so light coloured, and keep the lettering the same as it originally was, which is just line lettering. Shade in the same colour, the red colour, so red being bad, and then probably do green for the go forward. So green means go, like a traffic light. I want the go back to the start space to stand out, so I've done a cross, a darker red cross going through. Okay, it's looking okay so far. Okay, so let's colour in the rest of the go back spaces. Okay, so that's all the red go back spaces done. For go forward spaces, I will be using a green colour. So I want the same kind of tone as the other colour, like a pastel colour kind of thing. So nothing too saturated, nothing too dark. So for the rest of the squares, I'll just add any other colour that is not green or red. I think I'll leave the start and the finish square white. Don't want the same colour to be next to each other, so I'll do a different colour for each square as it goes along. So I'm aiming to place 2 squares of the same colour, so hopefully it would fill up the whole board with just 2 of each colour, which would be great, but probably won't. Okay, so that's the orange. And once done purple, I think I can just make a pink square maybe. And maybe a bit of a colour clash. It might not look different enough to the purple. Nah, it just looks a bit out of place. Okay, I'll just use a blue, the colour that is pretty much furthest away from it. And do the purple for the top there. Okay, that's it. Yep, that's everything. Okay, so that is how you make a basic board game. Now, if you're interested in seeing how this game plays, then please watch the next video where I will be test running and playing the actual game. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's not exactly a complicated video, it's very basic. I'm sure most of you have made games like this in the past, but just so I can build on this and then show more complex board games to make. So it's just basically a stepping stone into making more complex, more professional looking board games. So if you want to see future videos regarding board games, please subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, feel free to leave a like. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.